Good evening. Good evening, and welcome. It's great to see you all here. We're trying something a little bit different this year for Prelude, which is one of my favorite events of the year. So I'm Sandra Peart, Dean of the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, and on behalf of the faculty, staff, and current students of the Jepson School, it's my pleasure to welcome the new students will induct into the school formally this evening. What makes the Jepson School so special, in addition to our focus, of course, on leadership, is that we're a close-knit community. This evening and for the foreseeable future, our faculty, staff, and students will welcome you to our community and do whatever it takes to help you thrive at the Jepson School. Your professors will open a world of new ideas for you from a variety of disciplines, whether it's those include anthropology, economics, English literature, history, philosophy, political science, psychology, sociology. This year's class is incredible. I have a list of achievements that I'd like to share with you. We're inducting this evening 98 sophomores and 9 juniors, including 13 science leadership scholars. You're accomplished. Among you are 5 Division I athletes representing women's cross country and track and lacrosse, and men's basketball and lacrosse. 15 of you were in the 2022-23 Jepson Endeavor class, Leadership for an Equitable and Just Society. At least 14 of you are presidential scholars. We have 3 Richmond scholars, 4 Oliver Hill scholars with us this evening. One of you has instructed water ballet, and another is a licensed cosmetologist who owns a hairstyling business. I want to find that person. You work all around the campus in museums, Boatwright, 815, the Spider Shop, catering, the Tech Center, with the Department of Theater and Dance, in the Law School Career Services Office, and one of you is a student assistant for the Faculty Senate. Many of you participate in club sports, including soccer, crew, volleyball, pickleball, field hockey, ice hockey. I'm from Canada, so I like that one. Water polo, golf, lacrosse, spike ball, and frisbee. 2 of you won the Mateer Prize from Richmond College. 3 of you are Eagle Scouts. 3 of you work with the Undergraduate Political Science Journal, including one who is the editor-in-chief. You write for the Collegian and the Countercultural magazine. You've helped to create portions of the Equity Summit. One of you leads Kaleidoscope, and another is a part of Subject to Change Improv. You're members of WIL, West Hampton and Richmond College Student Government Associations, the Honor Council, Relay for Life, Best Buddies, APO, Habitat for Humanity, NOMA African Dance Company, Ritmo Latino, and the LGBTQ Coalition. You are members of the Wind Ensemble and many other musical groups, a cappella groups, and Greek Life. Several of you serve as writing consultants, speech consultants, resident assistants, wellness peer educators, and as part of the Peer Advisors and Mentors, PAM program. And we have the first child of a Jepson alum with us this evening, our first second generation in the Jepson School, Sydney Haas. I don't see Sydney. There she is. Yes, it's wonderful to see you. The school is 31 years old, and so it's now time that we can have the children of our alumni come to the University of Richmond and to the Jepson School. Welcome to all of you. We're excited about tonight's program, and now we're going to take some time to enjoy conversation, which I heard starting before my remarks, and some delightful food. Aaron, who's at the back of the room, will invite tables to help themselves to some of our wonderful offerings before the program resumes with some reflections. So welcome and enjoy the evening.
Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me? Good evening, everyone. My name is Kieran Saini. I'm a senior double majoring in leadership studies and health studies, and it is my privilege to serve the Jepson community as the Jepson Student Government Association president. I apologize, I have to go back to my biochem lab, so I'm actually going to be starting the speaking tonight instead of concluding. But first, I just want to recognize a few people who make this event possible for you all. Dr. Soderlund, Dean Peart, Ms. Trent, and Dr. Bizayo. I just want to thank you all and the Jepson Student Government Association for putting this on. We couldn't do it without you. As you'll hear from our speakers, Jepson truly is a special place. As you'll soon learn, Jepson students and alumni are very passionate about our community. Throughout your next few years here, I encourage you to engage with the Jepson community and get in as much as possible. Jepson DEIB, Jepson Core, and Jepson Student Government are just a few examples of how you can get involved and continue to strengthen that sense of community. We are currently holding applications for our sophomore senators, shameless plug. So please apply if you are interested. We do a lot of community-based events. We had a donut fall festival at the beginning of the semester. We're gonna have a holiday party soon. So lots of great events coming up. Finally, I just want to recognize you all again on this great achievement and welcome you to the Jepson community. So give yourselves a round of applause. It is now my pleasure to call up Anna Laura Houston and Ella Hayes, who will be your student speakers for tonight. Thank you all.
Okay. Hi, guys. My name is Anna Laura Houston, and I'm a junior here, double majoring in English and Leadership Studies. Congratulations. You all have jumped over a terrifying hurdle of choosing and declaring a major, and I'm honored to share my reflections with on Jepson with you all tonight. And to keep it on brand with the English major theme, I'm going to talk to you guys about books, but I promise I'll try to make it fun and exciting for my people in the audience who don't really love to read. But one thing about me is that I just finished the Harry Potter series last night for the first time. I started earlier this year with no previous attachments or exposure to the plot. I knew absolutely nothing about what unfolded. I lived 20 years without ever hearing a spoiler. And in fact, I wrote this when I hadn't finished it, and so I'm trying to keep up with it and adjust it on the spot. But I was in a super unique position of knowing nothing about it, and I was tired of hearing my friends talk about the thrill of the books or have movie marathons, so I decided to read it for myself. And I think the world building in the series is pretty phenomenal. As soon as I opened the books, I began to ponder the setting of Hogwarts. And you might think I sound crazy, but I think the Hogwarts School of Wizardry has some pretty stark similarities with the Jepson School of Leadership. When Hagrid bursts through the doors in the first book, telling Harry and the Dursleys he'll be a wizard, Harry's aunt and uncle are kind of like, really? You're going to go to school to learn how to be a wizard? And it's a super fun and awesome thing to read about, but it's not so much to live. When I burst through the doors at Thanksgiving during my sophomore year, when I got into Jepson, I told my family, and they all kind of looked at me, channeling their inner Uncle Vernon, and they were like, really? You're going to go to school to learn how to be a leader? And that time it wasn't so fun to experience. But all jokes aside, you quickly begin to learn the Jepson School of Leadership has some of the best qualities of Hogwarts. Once you get past the anxiety of answering the question, what even is leadership studies? What are you going to do with that? And I can't really tell you how to answer that because I don't fully know for myself, and I don't know what after undergrad holds for me. But I'm going to tell you about all the magic that Jepson has to offer, pun intended. The fantastical courses that Harry, Ron, and Hermione take remind me of the leadership studies curriculum, with a wide variety of disciplines and subjects all squeezed into one school. The Jepson School recognizes how important it is to be a leader in multiple different contexts, and it's all about putting yourself in others' shoes to understand perspectives different than your own. The professors come from so many different backgrounds and disciplines to provide their students with an all-encompassing analysis of why leadership is important and how each and every student can make an impact wherever they may go. The class selection may not be things like transfiguration, potions, care of magical creatures with teachers like Hagrid, Dumbledore, McGonagall, But I'd argue, as some of you may know, having a class like Leadership in the Humanities with Kaufman, the old wise Dumbledore of Jepson, or seeing Price walk through the halls like Hagrid with a motorcycle helmet, comparatively may be even better than any of the Hogwarts faculty. A difference, thankfully, is that Jepson is not divided into 4 separate houses. There's a sense of unity and community among staff and students here. And the Muggle world may not really understand what goes on behind the walls of Hogwarts, and people in Richmond and on campus may not realize the importance with the study of leadership. But nonetheless, inside Jepson Hall, people work hard to know not only what leadership studies is, but why it's important. And it's different from other departments where students learn to type formulas into Excel, experiment in labs, learn to recite dates, and just spit out facts. A leadership major has these components, but above all else, it's about you, and it's about the people that you come in contact with. It's really like nothing else on campus. In a sense, you're given powers to empathize, understand, make a difference, and lead others, and you're constantly training and refining these skills from an academic standpoint. What could provide a better foundation for camaraderie between your peers? And one thing you should strive for, similar to the famous trio at Hogwarts, is that you must grasp every opportunity of learning that comes at you. It's easy to think you can get by in classes without doing the extensive readings or without really paying attention in class. But Jepson is stretching out its arms to you, inviting you to dive deeper into a different discipline. Learn what it's about, get to know your peers, and don't be afraid of being challenged or challenging others. I know I may not have answered all of your questions about what the leadership major holds, but maybe it's better to go into it not truly knowing anything at all. Then you'll see how changed you will be from the Jepson curriculum by the end of your 4 years. You may not really be able to put your finger on what's so special about it. I know I sure haven't been able to, but maybe that's the magic and enchantment of it all. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Ella Hayes. I am a senior. I'm double majoring in leadership studies and PPEL with a concentration in politics. I would like to congratulate you on this accomplishment as you guys are welcomed into the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. I would also like to offer you guys some of my reflections. We come to Richmond with illustrious achievements under our belts, whether that be outstanding transcripts, noteworthy test performance, or celebrated athletic abilities. But that's not what brought you here today. It's not why you were selected to be a part of Jepson. I mean, sure, CEOs, politicians, Olympians, great leaders, they also have outstanding transcripts, noteworthy test performance, or celebrated athletic abilities, but that alone does not make for great leadership. What great leaders have, and what Jepson has recognized in you, is something entirely different. Let me explain what I mean. Something I've noticed about people with those outstanding transcripts, noteworthy test performance, or celebrated athletic abilities is that they often get comfortable. They get really good at delivering the expected results, churning out what they believe are the right answers. They develop a black and white automaticity to their thinking, essentially becoming really advanced algorithms, because they've been consistently rewarded for being right. I almost fell into this trap. Like you, I entered college with a decent record of achievement. I felt accomplished. I thought I could always craft the perfect answer, deliver the exact responses that my professors were fishing for. In my first 2 years at Richmond, I'd only speak in class when I was certain I had the right answer. As a result, I barely spoke. As it turns out, my professors were rarely throwing out black and white questions for which I could fetch a reliably right answer. Jepson is where I realized what I was missing. The truth is, when we grapple with the most meaningful challenges of leadership, there often is no black and white, only gray. When you take leadership ethics, you'll see what I mean. I enter that class thinking that I've got it all figured out, and without fail, I leave questioning every principle I have. It's both frustrating because I like to be right, but it's also fantastic because it stretches my thinking. It keeps me curious. I've learned that we Jepson students thrive when we stay curious. When we stop worrying about being objectively right, we get hungry to learn. We listen. Then we get used to the idea that there is no one right answer, and we get comfortable working in the in-between spaces. Principles conflict. Values are subjective. Policies that please everyone just don't exist. And in accepting this in-between reality, we are able to think critically and creatively about the complex issues facing our generation. That is what nurtures achievements into something groundbreaking. Now, perhaps more than ever, our world needs nuanced leadership. We won't solve our problems, not at a local or national or global level, by insisting on one right answer, by drawing black and white lines. We need to keep listening and learning, exploring the space in between. I am immensely grateful to the faculty for reinvigorating my curiosity over the past 2 years. Since I have accepted that there won't always be a right answer, I have become much more open and analytical and outgoing and excited. I hope that in the time I have left here at Richmond and into whatever the future holds for me, I hold on to both my curiosity and my comfort with ambiguity. As you begin your studies at Jepson, don't be afraid to sit in the gray space. It's awkward and unnerving at first, but I encourage you to let it drive your learning. Let your leadership be open, creative, and nuanced. I think you're here today because the Jepson faculty have recognized potential for this kind of leadership in every one of you. Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. Welcome and congrats on being the newest inductees to the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. You all should be thrilled and honored. My name is Abby Clare, and I have the honor of introducing Dr. Jessica Flanagan to you all this evening. Dr. Flanagan is the Richard L. Morrell Chair in Ethics and Democratic Values at University of Richmond, where she teaches leadership ethics, ethical decision-making in healthcare, and critical thinking. Dr. Flanagan brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to our gathering tonight, having published 2 books, 19 chapters and essays, and over 20 peer-reviewed articles, and that's just to name a few of her great accomplishments. Dr. Flanagan has a passion for public health and bioethics and social norms. Her commitment to effective altruism is truly commendable. As an associate professor of leadership studies, Dr. Flanagan has demonstrated exceptional leadership and dedication to the Jepson School. Her work inside and outside of the classroom has led her to receive the Distinguished Educator Award at University of Richmond in 2020. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming Dr. Jessica Flanagan to the stage. We are honored to have her with us tonight, and I'm sure she will inspire you all as your Jepson journey begins.
Thank you so much. So hi, everybody. I'm Jess. I teach in Jepson. I teach Defense Against the Dark Arts and Charms, so ethics and the public speaking class. And thank you so much for those great student reflections. They've made me so feel so reassured about the things that we're teaching, because it's just it's so validating to see that you get it. So I want to welcome you all to Jepson. We are so happy that you're here. And part of me wants to congratulate you on all of the achievements that you've gone through this far. But part of me does not want to congratulate you on your achievements. And the reason that part of me does not want to congratulate you on your achievements is that I worry that maybe up until this point, you have been told a little bit too much that the value of your life or the value of who you are as a person depends on your achievement. And why would I think this? Well, because I know how hard it is to get into this university. And I know what you and your parents have gone through that application process, racking up achievements, treating every day like a to-do list that you needed to conquer, and just instrumentalizing your days, your weeks, your nights, your weekends, practice times, games, in a way where the meaning of your life was just this kind of instrument or vessel in order to get into a college like this one. And then you get here, and then what do? It's another admissions process. And so then you have to do it again. And then you have to kind of check off a to-do list to get to this point as well. And the way that we present our education for you also reinforces that idea that the thing that you're supposed to be doing in college is checking off a bunch of boxes, prerequisites, requirements, get the GPA, get the grade. And if you're thinking in terms of racking up those achievements, you might get the mistaken impression that that's what your education is about. And you also might get the mistaken impression that that's what your life is about. It's about this kind of achievement. And I don't think that that's a good way to treat yourself. I don't think that's a good way to treat your life. Would you treat a friend that way? Would you treat a friend to give them that impression that the value that they hold depends on whether or not they accomplished everything on their to-do list today or not, or whether or not they got above a 3.75 GPA or not? And yet, when you're talking to yourself and when you're approaching your own life, I know, because I've met many of students coming through, it's so easy for you to fall into that way of thinking. And so that's why I don't want to congratulate you for your achievement, because I don't want to be giving you that impression that that's the thing that you should be congratulated for. Now, maybe some of you are thinking, that's not me. I'm not the achiever. I know. I've also seen another hazard and for how you could be navigating or steering your life that I'd also like to warn you against. So one thing that you might think when you're trying to navigate a meaningful life is, oh, the thing I should be doing with my life is achieving things, checking off boxes. And if you're steering the course of your life in a certain direction, you might steer off the road, off of the path of a meaningful life, into thinking that everything that you should be doing is just checking off a list of to-dos that your parents or your professors gave you. And that is a great threat to meaning. So don't veer off into that direction of the achiever. But also, you might be thinking, that's not me at all. And yes, there's another hazard that I'm here to tell you about, which is that we'll call that person the procrastinator. Has anyone here ever procrastinated? Oh, yeah. Who's in my, no student ethics. My ethics students have a paper due on Friday, so like, I'm aware of this dynamic. This is the other way that you can veer off the path of living a meaningful life, is instead of thinking in this achievement orientation, you could think in this more avoidant orientation, where you just think, oh no, I'm not gonna commit to these things, I'm not gonna take these risks, I'm not gonna like try for an achievement that I might be able to fail at. And then you just never shoot for it, you never go for it. And then your life becomes this sort of procrastinated, kind of meandering path. And that's also a threat to the meaning of your life. And so there's this middle path where you're not viewing your life as this instrumental to-do list, and you're also not viewing your life as a series of tasks to be avoided. And that middle path is one where you worship at a shrine that your own hands have built, where you truly are the author of your own life. And you're not checking off boxes from someone else's to-do list, and you're also not avoiding having to make any decisions about what goes on that list. And that path, like that middle way, is the task of your life, is to be the active participant in your life. Now you might be wondering, what does this have to do with Jepson School? And the thing that it has to do with the Jepson School is that is what I view as the thing that makes the Jepson School distinctive in our pedagogical and educational approach, is that we are so intentional about pushing you to be an active participant in your learning every single class period. Like, you are the person who is playing an active role in your classes. And so when you go into your Jepson classes, and when you're thinking about which classes to take or how to perform in your classes, you might have a temptation to just view class as some kind of a burden or like a box you need to check in order to get a credential, or in order to say you did it, or in order to get some wage premium or job market premium. But I'm telling you that if you're approaching your classes in that way, that is a missed opportunity, because you can approach your classes in this way where you're using your experience in class as a way of getting some kind of practice for really taking control over your life and thinking about how to be an active participant in the life that you're living. And so in the spirit of it, I'm just going to give you like 20 seconds. And I want you to think about a Jepson class that you're in right now, and don't think about what the professor wants from you. And don't think about what your parents want you to get out of this class. And don't even think about what's going to get you a good grade or what's going to be agreeable. But think about what is something in this class that you can get out of this class that you genuinely chose. All right, so I'm going to give you a few seconds, and then I want you to tell the person next to you what that thing is. You ready? All right, here it goes. I got the timer. Just talk. I should hear you talking. Let's hear it. All right, you got it? I'm going to call you back. For those of you who are new to how we do it in Jepson, active learning, welcome to the school. All right, did you do it right? Here's how we'll know. The thing that you said, the thing that you talked about, the thing that was your idea for how you could get something new out of your class experience that's not about the grade or checking the box or about the experience. Whatever you said, it should feel a little bit dangerous. It should feel a little bit weird or awkward. It should feel like if you walk into class with that goal in mind, that you're taking a risk and that you might end up saying something that people don't agree with. You might end up blowing a bunch of social capital. You might end up pissing off your professor. You might end up getting a bad grade. It could happen. And if it feels that way, if there's a little bit of a buzz behind it, that's how you know that you're doing it right. That's how you know that there are some real stakes to how you're approaching your education and that you really are the author of it and you're not living out a script that somebody else has written for you. You are currently in the process of writing your own script for the rest of your life. And that kind of a practice, that kind of exercise of self-authorship, where you really are the person who's driving that middle path between the twin hazards of the achiever and the procrastinator. When you feel that way on that road, it should feel a little bit scary and it should feel a little bit risky in the same way that it felt when you were first learning to drive for the first time. And at least when I was driving for the first time, like low-key still. And if it doesn't feel dangerous in that way, then you should ask yourself whether or not you're at risk of one of those two threats to the meaning of your life. And look, you just had a little bit of practice of thinking in that way, of like, what do you value? What are you going to bring into class? And now that you've had that practice, at least if only in the last 3 minutes when you tried it out, now I feel like I can say, congratulations and welcome to Jepson. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jess. Once again, the Jepson Student Government really appreciates that you agreed to be our faculty speaker this year. And I also want to thank our two student speakers as well. My name is Kirsten Soderlin. I'm one of the associate deans here at the Jepson School. And the students in the room all know me very well because I worked with them through the admissions process. And I will have the good fortune to work with them if they're majors in regards to their internship, work with them in terms of community-based learning classes. But my real pleasure this evening is that at this point in time, we would like to recognize our newly admitted class. And so I would like to ask the members of the class of 2026, as well as the handful of folks who are joining our class of 2025, to please stand at this point so that we can recognize you and say, welcome to the Jepson School. All right, I'll let you be seated. We put you on display long enough. So you will have the good fortune over the next several semesters to get the individuals who were just standing with you, get to know them. You will get to know them so well that by the time you get to leadership ethics, you will know exactly how to push people's buttons. That's what our seniors tell us every year. And the group of people who just stood with you, you're going to be able to join commencement weekend at our bookend program finale, when your family and guests and all your faculty and staff will once again convene and be celebrating your commencement from the university. So we would love to thank all of you for joining us this evening. We're so happy that we had some parents who were able to join us. As you know, Kieran was supposed to be the concluding speaker, but she had to go conclude her lab. So I am the concluding speaker, but Dean Peart is joining me on the stage, so come join us.
So before we disperse tonight, I wanted to let you all know that it's someone's birthday. That person is standing on the stage beside us, me, Dr. Sordelin. So, yes. Please join me in helping Kirsten celebrate her birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear
Kirsten. Happy birthday to you. Thank you. I think that's the largest number of people that have ever sung me happy birthday at once. So thank you, Dean Peart, for sharing that with everybody. So once again, we would like to thank all of you for joining us this evening. I do want to let you know that there are still some desserts out there, and there is still mac and cheese bar if anybody would like to hit up and get another martini glass full of that. So feel free if you want to stay and visit a little bit longer, but otherwise, once again, welcome to the Jepson community, both students as well as family and guests. Have a wonderful evening.